Hello guys, this is Adib. Welcome to my channel Movement Science, where I simplify biomechanics with Joe. So if you are new to this channel, consider subscribing. Also check me out on Instagram, where I post pictures of my notes, and the reference time for all the topics that I am going to cover will be mentioned down in the description, so check that out and let's get started. In this video, we are going to talk about the mid-carpal joint, and then we will talk about the ligaments in detail, okay? So it might be slightly longer video, but sit back, relax, and just see what are the ligaments, the names, and I've made some mnemonics so you can remember it better. And let's start with the topic. So first, the mid-carpal joint, that is basically your two rows of carpals are there, right? The articulation between them. So the articulation occurs between the she looks too, right? That is, she looks too pretty, but pretty pisiform is not there. So scaphoid, lunate, triquetrum, and then try to catch her, that is trapezius, trapezoid, capitate, hamate. So all the bones from the top row are articulating with almost all the bones, that is the three bones, except pisiform. That's where the articulation happens. Now, all these bones together, they form a functional unit and create all the movements at your wrist joint, right? Now, although it makes a functional unit, anatomically they are not a unit, as in anatomically they are separate from your RC joint, that is the radiocarpal joint, right? Radius and carpal, they articulate, which we discussed in the previous video, right? So anatomically they are not together. The capsule and the synovial lining that is formed is continuous with your carpals and the CMC joints, that is the upper row of your carpals and your carpometacarpal joint. That's where the lining is together, but the capsule does not involve the lower carpal bones, right? So anatomically they are separate, but together they work as a functional unit. That's what we need to know about the carpal joints. Moving on, if you look at the articulating surface, it is reciprocally concave convex. That means it is kind of a saddle shape. What do you mean by saddle? It is concave and convex at the same time. So if you look over here, the surface, it is concave over here, but convex over here, right? So that is your saddle shape, and this kind of articulation is seen at your mid-carpal joint. Now, with that kind of articulation, how exactly the movement happens, that we will talk about in the kinematics part, okay? Going ahead, the union that is formed by all these bones together, what will it do? It will help in force absorption at the mid-carpal joint, and it also forms these carpal bones, it also forms the foundation of your transverse and the longitudinal arches, right? The arches of your hand, similar to arches of your foot, there are arches in your hand, the longitudinal and the transverse arches. We will discuss about this in more depth in future videos. So these carpals kind of form the foundation of these arches. Moving on to the ligaments of your mid-carpal joint, they can be vastly divided into extrinsic and intrinsic, and also dorsal and volar. So these ligaments, if you see among the population, there is individual difference that exists in the structure of the ligaments, right? And the function of these ligaments is basically your articular stability, right? All these bones that are there are separate, right? And they have to be held together by something, that is your ligaments. If we take our bone model over here, all these small bones are connected with your wire, correct? Similarly, in our body, this function is done by your ligaments, and the second job of these ligaments is it guides and checks the motion that occurs between the carpal bones when you are moving. We will understand more about the motion in the kinematics. That's when this ligament part, how it guides the movement, will be more relevant. So let's go ahead. Coming to the extrinsic versus intrinsic ligament, intrinsic ligaments will be the ligaments that connect your bones, right? Carpal bones within each other. Whereas extrinsic will come into play when there are the other bones, right? The radius and ulna, when the ligaments are coming from the radius, from outside, and then attaching to the bones. Those are the extrinsic ligaments in comparison to the intrinsic within the carpal bones. So what happens is, the extrinsic ligaments, right, they have a very good blood supply, and what they do is they protect your intrinsic ligaments which don't have that good healing capacity. So that's what I mentioned here. Extrinsic the extrinsic ligaments protects slow healing intrinsic ligaments by taking the forces that are put on your wrist first. So if you get some force like this, which is resisted by your ligaments, the first force will be taken by your extrinsic ligaments and they'll get injured before your intrinsic ligaments. Now the intrinsic ligaments are strong, but they are not that stiff, they are less stiff, and their healing, they rely on the synovial fluid for their nutrition, right? So as we know in our body, if a tissue is getting its nutrition through synovial fluid, the healing capacity is not that good compared to a tissue which has a direct blood supply, correct? So the extrinsic ligaments have a better blood supply compared to the intrinsic ligaments. So that was the extrinsic versus intrinsic. And volar versus dorsal, if you compare, the volar ligament are much more thicker in comparison to the dorsal ligaments. So now that we have gotten an overview of the ligaments, let's go into the more depths of the ligament. Now coming to the ligaments of the wrist, this we have already divided into intrinsic and extrinsic, right? So here are the intrinsic. Now the next one is the extrinsic. Extrinsic I have divided into radial and ulnar. So radial is over here, ulnar is over here, okay, and that is on the volar side, correct? And now dorsal side, over here I have mentioned the dorsal ligaments. So now let's understand one ligament at a time, right? So first is the Radioscaphocapitate ligament, right? That is RSC, right? Radioscaphocapitate, RSC, that is Roy Sells cookies. And let me mark this ligament. So radius is over here, scaphoid is over here, capitate is over here. So this is your Radioscaphocapitate ligament. Next, after that is the Radiolunotriquetral ligament, right? So that is RLT, that is Roy Loves Tea. And where will we find the ligament? Over here, radius, lunate and triquetrum. So T, and then over here like this. So that is your Radiolunotriquetral ligament, and then your Radioscapholunate ligament, RSL, that is Roy Sells lemon. And where is that? RSL, so over here. So that is your Radioscapholunate ligament. Now this ligament specifically forms a conduit. A conduit means like a passage for neurovascularity of your scapholunate joint. That is scapholunate joint. It gives a good blood supply over there through the Radioscapholunate ligament, right? As I mentioned before, all the extrinsic, this one and also this one, they have a good blood supply, right, compared to your intrinsic ones. And then finally the last one is the radial collateral ligament. So that is your red one, okay. So I'll draw it here. It's on the radial side, right? Radial collateral ligament. So those are your radiocarpal ligaments. Now let's move on to the ulnocarpal ligaments. Under ulnocarpal ligaments, there is the whole complex which is formed by your TFCC, correct? The disc of the TFCC and the meniscus homologue. I have covered it in the first topic of your wrist joint. You can go and check that out. And there is the ulnar collateral ligament, similar to your radial collateral ligament on the ulnar side, and also ulnolunate ligament. So let me mark the first ulnolunate ligament. So this is the ulna over here, and from ulna it will go to the lunate, correct? So that is the ulnolunate ligament. And then the ulnar collateral ligament, right? So that will come from here. Okay. So that is the ulnar collateral ligament along with your meniscus homologue too. So those were your extrinsic ligaments, correct, which were coming from the radius, okay, and the ulna. Now going on to the intrinsic ligaments, there is scapholunate ligament, scaphoid to lunate, okay. So that is again in orange. See, I have mentioned this one also in orange, right? Radioscapholunate. So it is kind of a part, you can say, of that. And then the other one is your lunotriquetral ligament, that is over here. I have already marked the lunotriquetral. It also forms the radiolunotriquetral, and then lunotriquetral is the intrinsic one. So the thing about intrinsic ligaments is the scapholunate ligament is involved in the stability of your scaphoid, And this scapholunate ligament is comparatively very avascular, and if there is injury to this ligament, the chances of degeneration are very high. The second one is your lunotriquetral ligament, okay, lunotriquetral. What this does is it gives stability to your lunate, and when I mean lunate, it's basically lunotriquetral both, and this ligament is kind of protected by your extrinsic ligaments, which means if there is instability seen at the lunotriquetral region, it means the extrinsic ligaments have been already damaged. So instability might be seen with concomitant injury, meaning together injury to your extrinsic ligaments too, right? So these are your intrinsic ligaments. Basically, if you notice intrinsic ligaments, you don't really have to remember separately because they are kind of part of the extrinsic ligaments, that is the scapholunate and lunotriquetral, correct? So the mnemonic over here was Roy sells cookies, right? RSC. Roy loves tea, and then Roy sells lemons. So you can remember lemon tea and dipping the cookies in the lemon tea, something like that to make a connection. So those are the ligaments. Now going to the dorsal region, this was on the volar region, right, front. So these ligaments will basically prevent any injury like this. If there is something hitting your hand like this sudden, like a ball or something, the front part of your hand, that is the volar side, right, all the ligaments will protect all the extension type of injuries, whereas if there is some flexion type of injury, it will be protected by your dorsal ligaments. What are the dorsal ligaments? There is the dorsal radiocarpal ligament and dorsal intercarpal ligament. Let me show you those ligaments. So this is your dorsal radiocarpal ligament because it comes from the radius and goes to the carpal, and between all the carpals is the dorsal intercarpal ligaments. These are the two ligaments, okay, and if you see, they form a V shape, correct? One goes oblique and one goes transverse. See, the dorsal radiocarpal ligament, it is oblique and it helps in offsetting the sliding of proximal carpal condyles on radius. What do I mean by this? You have your radius here and the carpal bones, and the excessive sliding of the radial bones, which will be prevented by your oblique ligaments over here, that is the dorsal radiocarpal ligaments, correct? And then the second one is the dorsal intercarpal ligament, which was going transverse, right, horizontal, and both of them together, they were forming a V, which I just mentioned, for your radiocarpal stability, the stability of the radiocarpal joint. Okay, so now that I have covered all the ligaments, just final two ligaments that are left are the deltoid ligaments, which are probably not that important over here, okay? So they form kind of a V over here, and those are the deltoid ligaments. So now that I've covered all the ligaments over here, now let's quickly summarize the topic. So first we started with the mid-carpal joint. We saw what was the articulation. All the bones were articulating except your pisiform. We saw how it is a functional unit, but anatomically it is separate. It is reciprocally concave convex, that is saddle shape. And we also saw that it forms the foundation of your transverse and the longitudinal arch. Under the ligaments of your wrist, we saw there are extrinsic and intrinsic ligaments. Extrinsic come from outside, from radius and ulna, whereas the intrinsic are connecting your carpal bones within each other. Under the extrinsic, it was divided into radial side and ulnar side, right? Radial side, we had RSC, that is Radioscaphocapitate, RLT, that is Radiolunotriquetral, and RSL, that is Radioscapholunate. That is Roy sells cookies, Roy loves tea, Roy sells lemons, okay? These are the radial side ligaments, and on the ulnar side there is Ulnolunate ligament and ulnar collateral ligament, also the radial collateral on the radial side. Then we saw the intrinsic ones, that is the scapholunate and lunotriquetral ligament. And finally over here, dorsal ligaments, they were forming a V, that is dorsal radiocarpal ligament and dorsal intercarpal ligament, right? So all these ligaments give you stability to your wrist joint, and extension is prevented by your volar ligaments and flexion is prevented by your dorsal ligaments, excessive flexion and extension, right? So with that, we finish off this topic. That's all for today, guys. Thank you for watching. If you like my content, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. It will really help me out, and thank you for watching.